What's up? This your boy JG, back with another video on music tips and reviews with JG. Like I always say, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please press the subscribe button so you'll be updated on all my latest content. I always appreciate the support. Also, if you want to support, I have Cash App, $jgilzva. Scrolling on the bottom of the screen, and also Super Chat if you want to support as well as you watching this premiere. I thought I'd do this. It's been long awaited. I've been saying I was going to do this because it's been kind of tough. I've been trying to think of which album should be before which album. Because Usher, he has an incredible discography. His albums, all his albums is pretty good. Iconic artists. A lot of people was wondering if Chris Brown and Usher was going to do a versus. I think they respect each other too much to do it, but the fans still want it. It's just something about Usher, ever since he started as a young boy in the game. Started under the mentorship of Diddy, Puff Daddy at the time, and he really blossomed to be a legendary artist in his own right. Started with under LaFace, L.A. Reid and Babyface label, LaFace, until now. I believe he's on RCA still. And so Usher is an incredible artist. Chris Brown is good, but Usher has that. He just has that star quality that every artist wants to have. And I think a lot of people underrate his vocal abilities as well. But today I want to rank his albums. This was a tough one for me because I love all his albums, even from his first album. I loved them. Some people might disagree with my ranking, and some will agree with my rating. But this is what I feel. This is what I feel about his albums. So feel free to let me know what you think about my rating as I go through this rating of Usher albums. Usher Raymond, the fourth. Usher Raymond. So let's get into it. Number 9. So he had 9 albums. I included the A album with Zaytoven, so that's included in this rating. So it's gonna be 9, and so I'm gonna start from number 9. My number 9 is and I think part of the reason why I picked this one, but I'm gonna go ahead and say what my number 9 is. Hard to Love. Hard to Love was a good album, but I felt it should have had more promo for this album. I think the promotion of this album, the publicity of this album wasn't really hitting enough to really make this album. And I think them keep pushing back his project as it is now with the Confessions album. It's like people just once it come out, it's like, oh, it's out. But it had some good songs. It was a good album, but I think it was kind of just an album he put together. I think he was trying to keep himself relevant on this album as far as the sound sonically, but there's a lot of nostalgic vibes to it as well. Had a lot of great producers like Pop Wanzel, Bam on No Limit. That was a single. The Dream, Tricky Stewart, D-Mile, a lot of other producers. Good Kisser, songs like that. I think it was an okay album. I think just the weight of it made it the anticipation kind of decrease because of the anticipation of the album. And so that's my number 9. That's my number 9 as far as the Usher albums. And so my number 8, and I hate to say this, but I think my number 8 is, and a lot of people might, why you pick this as number 8? But I think number 8 is Usher album. I feel on the Usher album it was good, but I thought it was too mature for him for his age. The album sounded really Jodeci like, because a lot of producers that was on his album produced for Jodeci, and so the Usher album, I like Think of You, but a lot of it was produced by the Hitman like Chucky Thompson, Brian Alexander Morgan, I'll Be Sure. A lot of the New York camp, they produced on this album. It was a good album. I like Whispers, but I felt he didn't really get into his own until the other album that I'm about to bring up later on. But the Usher debut album was good. Came out in '94. On LaFace and Arista. He was on LaFace and Arista for a minute, but I think his voice was changing on this album, and so the album didn't really do as well, as far as sales and stuff like that. So, but a pretty good album. I listened to it again to really think of my ratings, for Usher albums. So my number 8 is the Usher. A lot of people may disagree that the next album I'm going to talk about is before this Usher album, but I thought it was a good vibe for Usher. I think it was a good album. Even though this album is not considered a project for him, I think it was a good album, and that goes to the A. I think bringing out that Atlanta sound through Zaytoven, I think it was good. I think it was a good clubs album. What was the song I like? Oh, She Ain't Tell You. I love the vibe on that one. I love Peace Sign. I love those songs. I just love the whole vibe, and all the songs was very cohesive on this album. It was a good album. Stay at Home, ATA, Peace Sign, You Decide, Birthday, She Ain't Tell You, Say What You Want, I Like to Say What You Want To, and Gift Shop. They was on that album. So that's my number 7. I thought it was a good album. Some people hate on that album, but I thought it was a good album for Usher. A good sound sonically, and I think it was very cohesive. So that's my number 6. Usher, the A album, collaboration album with Zaytoven, incredible Southern producer. So shout out to that album. My number 6. This was a good album, but I think around this time, he was married, and so kind of, as an R&B artist, you being married and tied down, you're gonna lose a lot of fans, honestly, like female fans, and I think he lost a lot of fans on this one. But it was a good album. It wasn't a bad album. It had good singles, and that's Here I Stand. I think Here I Stand is number 6. The self-titled song on the album Here I Stand was beautiful. I love that song. But let's look at the track listing. Love in This Club was the single featuring Young Jeezy. That was a good song. Trading Places, Moving Mountains, What's Your Name? I love Best Thing featuring Jay-Z. Before I Met You. I also had Love in This Club featuring Lil Wayne and Beyonce. That was a good remix. So I like that. It was a solid album. Trading Places is one of my favorite, written by The Dream. I just love the vibe of that song, and I love the video as well. But I think he lost a lot of fans, honestly, because he was married during this time. He was kind of tied down with the marriage and stuff like that. And I think he regained a lot of those fans on his next album. Now, I'm not saying this. I'm not against marriage. I'm married myself, so I don't think I'm against marriage. I just think, being an R&B artist, an R&B superstar, kind of the marriage thing, kind of gets in the way of, some fans. These fans, they be crazy over they superstars. So let me get to my number 5. I think this next one was a very experimental album, but at the same time, it kind of made Usher more flexible as far as his sound, and I think it was a good risk. This next album, because he had a lot of good songs on this album as well. This was another one of his albums. I feel the promo was okay. They could have pushed this album more, but I think he lost some fans because they used the urban sound Usher. But my number 5 is Looking for Myself. This was a pretty good album as well. Came out in 2012. Like I said, it was like an experimental album, but I think it was a good album as well. I like Lessons of the Lover. That was a good song. Lesson for the Lover, I mean. Written by Rico. I think a lot of projects that Rico is like writing a lot on, I don't know why I don't get a lot of sales and stuff like that, because I like the Brandy 211 album, that was a good album as well. Rico wrote a lot of songs on that album, but this was a great written album. Let Me See, Scream, I love Scream. Dive, Rico wrote the mess out of that song, Dive. He said he originally wrote that for Michael Jackson. That would be interesting. But it was a good album. Euphoria, that was good. It was like a popish vibe to this album. Climax, produced by Diplo, that was a big song on this album. Really getting to his falsetto on that song, his vocal range, and so that was a good album. Looking for Myself. So we getting down to the top four. So this next album, he was kind of exploring a little bit, but not as far as Looking for Myself. But he worked with Rico Love a lot on this. Daddy's Home. So this number 4, Raymond versus Raymond. Incredible album. I think this is better than Here I Stand. I think Here I Stand came out before this one. Here I Stand. Raymond versus Raymond was an incredible album. Had a lot of good singles. On this album. Raymond versus Raymond. Daddy's Home. There Goes My Baby was a huge song. Produced by Jim Johnson. He was knocking out those hits at the time. Lil Freak, Polo the Don, Oh My God, Will I Am, that was a big pop song. And that's crazy because, he went at T-Pain about autotune, and he used autotune on this song. So that's like a full circle. But anyways, Raymond versus Raymond. I love Mars versus Venus, produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are timeless producers. They still producing those hits. Fooling Around was kind of like a sequel to Burn, I felt. Papers, written by Sean Garrett, produced by Zaytoven. That was a good song as well. That was a single. And so that was an incredible album. I think cohesively it was good. Mix your pop and his urban side. He was getting ready to cross over to the pop world after this. So this was a good introduction for him. Raymond versus Raymond. So we get to the top 3. So, my number three. This was hard, but this was a tough decision. My number three, but I decided. He took a break after My Way. They were trying to decide his direction after that. They named the album U-Turn at first, and then in 2001 he came out with 8701. So that's my number three, 8701. Great album. Second album he did with Jermaine Dupri and B. Cox. Also Pharrell did some amazing. Neptunes did some amazing work on this album as well. 8701, one of my top favorite Usher albums. You Remind Me, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I love I Don't Know, Twerk It Out, You Got It Bad. But I feel like near the end of the album, it was a lot of fillers to me, honestly. I think it was a lot of fillers near the end of the album that could have been off the album and replaced with probably some other songs. Can You Help Me was a beautiful ballad. You Don't Have to Call was a single. You Got It Bad. Like I said, You Remind Me. I think it was a good album. I think it was a good prelude to the album coming in my ranking. I think it was a good prelude to that. It had some incredible songs on this album. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't put it as number one. But yeah. So my number three is 8701. Good album. Like I said, it was tough. But y'all let me know y'all rankings. If you want to put it in the comment section. And also press like if you like the video so far. And so my top two. One minute I want to flip it the other way. But I have to say my number two, considering a lot of factors. My Way. So My Way was, kind of the introduction of JD and Usher really working together, and it was a match made in heaven. Them coming together and creating music, creating masterpiece. A lot of songs came from this album. You Make Me Wanna, Nice and Slow, My Way, and there's a lot of other songs on here. And I think this album, compared to 8701, I think it had less fillers. Like, you can listen to this album straight through. Every song is good on this album. A sleeper up here is I Will, produced by Sprague Williams. Shout out to Sprague Williams from VA. Shout out to VA. I'm from VA. I love that song. That was a good song. I Will. Babyface, Bedtime, Slow Jam. Just like great singles though. Great singles. They picked the right singles. But I like that they kept this album short and every song was good. So that's good, because you don't want to have a long album and you have okay songs. I think that was a mistake in 8701. They had good solid about 8 or 9 songs, and I think the rest of the song they could have put away. But yeah. Number two is My Way. And so, of course, y'all know my number one. One of the top selling albums of all time, R&B albums of all time. I had to put that Confessions is my number one. This really catapulted his career. Him and Jermaine Dupri, and then B. Cox still aboard. From 8701 they had success with that album, and so they wanted to work together again. And I know people gonna hate me, but I'm tired of that. Yeah. That Yeah song, I got tired of it the first year. I ain't gonna lie, but it was a hit. I ain't gonna knock it. Lil Jon did a good job on that, but they played that song out. But where can I start on this album though? Throwback, Just Blaze. Rico wrote the song, and JQ Smith. Confessions, I love Confessions Part 2 as well. That was a good song. Burn, one of my favorite. That's like my favorite song on the album. Burn, Caught Up, Pooh Bear, Ryan Toby, Dre and Vidal. Dre and Vidal very underrated. Producers. Superstar. That's one of my favorite too. Simple, Truth Hurt, Simple Things. Bad Girl. That's what it's made for. I think the end of the album, it has a little bit of, they was like borderline fillers, cause some of the songs, like after I get to like Bad Girl, I kind of sleep on the album. But the whole album was good. It's just near the end, kind of like 8701, kind of fell off. But I put it as number one because it really levitated his career, and just the songs itself was really legendary songs. All the singles and stuff like that, and just how many albums it sold. And so it's kind of tough between My Way and Confessions. I'm still back and forth, but I still had to put number one as Confessions because that really pushed him into that superstar R&B artist. It's like it pushed him from just urban to that just superstardom. And so yeah, that's not my number one. And so yeah, let me know what you think the ratings should be for Usher. These are my ratings of Usher albums. I finally got to it. Usher albums, and yeah. So my number 9 is Hard to Love. 8 was Usher album. 7 was A album. 6 was Here I Stand. 5 was Looking for Myself. 4 was Raymond versus Raymond. 3 was 8701. 2 was My Way, and 1 was Confessions. So that was my ranking. Let me know what you think about my rating. If you liked it, if you didn't, just let me know how you felt and give me your opinion why. Some people just troll. But just let me know your true feelings about my rating and if you agree with me or not. And I appreciate the support. Appreciate y'all comments. They really motivate me to keep going with this YouTube channel. Very motivated. Music is my passion. I'm a songwriter, producer myself, and so this music thing is really my world. And so appreciate y'all watching this ranking of Usher albums, and I hope to see you next time. All right, peace.